connecting to YouTube, Periscope, Twitter live streams. We are now digitizing our signal to the secret background servers of YouTube for Foundation staff only. Foundation staff will be able to join us on Get Vocal and YouTube starting right now. We are pulling up the YouTube chat. We are making sure that everything is live. We are making sure you are here. This is going to get loud for a second. We apologize. All right, it is back. We have YouTube chat active. We have Periscope active, Twitter active. The titles are on. The lights are on. Floppy has joined us in the chat. Hey, Floppy. Good to see you tonight. Today, if you are somewhere where it's not night. YouTube chat, we're going on. Excellent. And beaming. Fantastic. Hey there, Foundation staff. This is Level 2 researcher Theron Sherman, but you can call me Sherm. Welcome to another Anomalous Broadcast from Site-42. For those of you unfamiliar with our show, the rundown goes like this. Number 1, I read you an SCP document. Letter B, I open up the floor to the community to discuss what we've read. We're often visited by SCP authors, staff, fans, and if we're lucky, the author of that article themselves shows up to share some insights. Remember that if you'd like to join the conversation yourself, you can get on Get Vocal with us during the show and get on camera, or you'll be able to chat with us in the YouTube and Get Vocal chats. Also, remember that if you really enjoy the show, leave us a like and comment to let us know. And if you really want to help us out, become a patron at patreon.com/site42. Tonight's article is SCP-4882, Coordinated Universal Time, written by author Lambda Fairy. Lambda Fairy is, in fact, with us tonight, so now he will magically appear on the camera with us. Hello, Lambda.
Hello, so good to see you.
So good to have you on. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Oh, I'm Lambda Fairy, and hello.
Perfect.
Is that all I need to do? Yeah.
All right. Before we go into your story, do you have any introduction you want to give to it before we get into it?
Oh, I'm not sure. I guess we'll just hop right into it. Yeah.
All right. Let's hop right into it. I will start us up with the item number. I'll go through the special containment procedures. You can take over the description. Sound good?
Sounds all right to me.
All right. Warning. This information is classified Level 5 Maxer. If you do not have the appropriate clearance to read this file, close this page immediately and notify your supervisor. Your access has been logged. Item number, SCP-4882. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. At this time, current economic and technological trends are sufficient to contain SCP-4882. Embedded agents in major technology companies are to advocate for awareness of leap seconds and oversee their correct implementation in new products. Representatives in the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, are to postpone the abolition of leap seconds for as long as possible.
Description. SCP-4882 is an anomalous effect that occurs when many electronic timekeeping components are brought close together. Notably, the real-time clock circuits of computers, mobile phones and tablets, routers, and many Internet of Things devices contribute to this effect. The intensity of this effect scales with at least the following factors: the extent to which each component ticks in the same moment in time as other components, accuracy; the extent to which each component waits for the same amount of time between ticks, precision; the amount of time that the components are able to function without interruption, uptime; the extent to which each component maintains forward motion and does not stall or reverse, monotonicity; At low levels, SCP-4882 causes an increase in build quality of and synchronization between nearby electronic components. As this effect includes the components that contribute to SCP-4882, it is expected that such an effect, if left undisturbed, will increase in intensity over time. The full extent of SCP-4882 is unknown. However, reliable sources, including texts from all three branches of GOI 004, thaumaturgical models published by the ICSUT, and information gleaned from predictive anomalies, suggest a single conclusion. The end result of SCP-4882 is the physical manifestation of Meccan, the broken god, on Earth.
Incident 4882-1. Discovery of SCP-4882. The first documented instance of SCP-4882 appeared on August 22, 1950, when an anomalous incident occurred at Site-15. Glowing symbols, similar to those used by the Broken Church, appeared on internal walls. Personnel at the site experienced auditory hallucinations, mainly whirring and beeping sounds. An electrical storm formed above the site. Animals that were struck by lightning from this storm had sections of their bodies replaced by electronic circuitry, in a manner similar to that of SCP-217. During this incident, site maintenance personnel observed a spike in the amount of electricity used by the Eastern Research Wing. Suspecting a connection to the anomaly, they removed all the circuit breakers for that wing, cutting power to that section of the site. The anomaly subsided immediately. The team was later awarded a Foundation Bronze Star for their initiative. Post-mortem investigation isolated the cause of the incident to a laboratory in the research wing. The laboratory was used for the testing of atomic clocks, in particular comparing their relative drift over long time scales. Cross-referencing with existing documentation confirmed a link to SCP-001. Further experimentation isolated the factors contributing to the incident and led to the initial classification and containment of SCP-4882.
Addendum 4882-1. Project Mixer Proposal, abridged. Project Mixer, Gerald C. Gross, April the 20th, 1959. Rationale. As automatic computer technology matures, we will expect to see greater use of such appliances in civilian contexts. This presents the risk of SCP-4882 manifestation in these settings. Project Mixer aims to mitigate this risk through political manipulation of actors in industry and academia. Details. Our contacts in the US Navy and Greenwich Observatory have reported the use of a coordinated universal time among the astronomical community. This technique, abbreviated CUT, aims to keep atomic time aligned with the rotation of the Earth. It achieves this goal by adjusting the clock forward or backward in steps of 50 milliseconds whenever the two diverge. If all electronic clocks were to adopt CUT as the timekeeping standard, then the disruption of precision and monotonicity would ensure containment of SCP-4882. However, without intervention, it is unlikely that CUT will be adopted outside of astronomy due to its difficulty of implementation. Thus, effective containment will require infiltrating relevant organizations and promoting the use of CUT by political means.
Addendum 4882-2. Timeline of Project Maxer. I'm sorry, is that Maxer or Maxer? Which one is it?
I'm actually not sure. I've only seen it written.
I'm going to go with Maxer then. April 25th, 1959. O5 Command approves Project Maxer by a 13-0 vote. 1960. The Royal Greenwich Observatory, the National Physical Laboratory in England, and the U.S. Naval Observatory announced their adoption of a single timescale named Coordinated Universal Time. 1962. CCIR-3 Study Group 7 is formed to finalize the details of Coordinated Universal Time. Due to Foundation lobbying, all members of this group are employees of the Foundation. 1963. The CCIR unanimously adopts Coordinated Universal Time as the standard for all radio communications. 1972. Through improved mathematical models, it is shown that one adjustment every 3 years is sufficient to contain SCP-4882. Step interval increased from 50 milliseconds to 1 second. This establishes the, quote, leap second system used today. 1998. Measurements across Foundation sites confirm a secular decrease in SCP-4882 intensity, despite the continued proliferation of electronic devices. Maximum period increased to 8 years, with plans made to abolish the leap second system in 2015. 2012. Ambient SCP-4882 intensity fails to decrease for the 5th consecutive year. Abolition of leap seconds postponed indefinitely.
Incident 4882-5. On June the 29th, 2012, Foundation meteorologists were alerted to a large-scale electrical storm developing in the Northern Virginia area. Satellite imagery showed hotspots of EVE radiation centered on the location of an Amazon Web Services, or AWS, data center, indicating an anomalous cause for the storm. Mobile Task Force MOVE-4 debuggers was deployed to investigate and contain the incident. The presence of SCP-4882 was quickly confirmed upon arrival. Through subsequent negotiations, Amazon agreed to power down the center for 10 minutes to allow the storm to subside. It was at this point that the storm began to dissipate. It cleared completely by the following day. In the aftermath of this incident, Amazon requested a review of its AWS operations in regard to preventing future manifestations of SCP-4882. As of Q1 2013, Amazon has implemented around 10% of recommended mitigations and has expressed reluctance in proceeding further.
The corporates. Those stiffs. Incident 4882-7. On April 24th, 2013, a garment factory in Savar Upazia, Dhaka district, Bangladesh, collapsed. The Foundation was alerted to the incident due to reports of, quote, iron monsters, end quote, emerging from the rubble. Foundation personnel, disguised as members of the Bangladeshi military, assumed control over the area. Concurrently with the rescue operation, the Foundation began investigation of the disaster site. No anomalous equipment was found, but the layout of the factory as a whole corresponded to a symbol used in a prominent mechanite ritual. This arrangement would have amplified the otherwise weak SCP-4882 effect within the factory's machinery, the added strain causing structural failure of the building. A cover story was disseminated, explaining the collapses due to a lack of compliance with building codes. Civilians found infected with SCP-217 were terminated. Minimal use of amnestics was required as media dismissed the reports of anomalous activity as hearsay.
Incident 4882-11. In his yearly address, Robert Bumaro, leader of the Broken Church, urged followers to, quote, apply restraint in your worship, as God is not yet ready to be unbroken, end quote. This is believed to refer to SCP-4882. Maxwellist leaders unanimously condemned the statement.
Incident 4882-15. On December 1st, 2013, Amazon halted communications with the Foundation, citing operational concerns. Later that month, the company announced the opening of its first data center in China.
Amazon at it again.
Mm-hmm.
Incident 4882-23. On August the 14th, 2014, Dr. Dimitrios Matsakis, the chief scientist for time services at the U.S. Naval Observatory, presented a paper advocating for the removal of leap seconds from UTC, direct opposition to Foundation policy. Later questioning revealed that Dr. Matsakis had misread the 2012 communique and assumed that the previous abolition policy was still in place. He has since apologized for the mistake. No disciplinary actions were deemed necessary. The Foundation was unable to suppress news of this presentation. As the evidence presented in the paper was true, its retraction would have aroused too much suspicion among the scientific community. Moreover, as the paper contained no classified or anomalous information, the use of amnestics to censor it would have broken international law. The Foundation continues to lobby for the preservation of leap seconds in accordance with Project Matsu.
Incident 4882-39. I'm sorry, I have to go back. I am so ready with so many questions and comments about this article with every little incident. I'm like, oh, that's that. Okay. Incident 4882-39. On October 14th, 2014, a Bitcoin mining facility in Thailand was destroyed in a fire. Foundation scanners flagged the event as a possible SCP-4882 manifestation due to the suspicious circumstances surrounding the incident. As part of the investigation, a sample of mining appliances from different manufacturers were purchased for study. All 5 of these appliances were found to contain circuits for the express purpose of inducing SCP-4882. Researchers found similar mechanisms in graphic processors sold by AMD, NVIDIA, and Intel. The diversity in the designs of these circuits implies that they were arrived at independently.
Incident 4882-101. During the month of November 2015, the ITU held the 8th World Radio Communication Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. One of the agenda items was a vote on the abolition of leap seconds, a motion for which the Foundation expected strong opposition. However, immediately before the vote was held, an unidentified representative interrupted the session to present a speech. See Addendum 4882-3. The resulting vote was 453 to 450 against.
All right, so I'm going to ask you here before we get into this last part, since you seem to have some feelings on this matter, do you want to take this last addendum and present it?
If you insist, sure.
Hit it. Show us those feelings.
Okay. Addendum 4882-3. Excerpt from the 8th World Radio Communication Conference, 2015. Right. I'm just going to stand up and what's on everyone's. Leap seconds are useless.
What?
Let's see. Navigators don't need them. They're all on GPS. Radios, they're all run by computers now, which everyone knows are more likely to crash with leap seconds than without them. Even the astronomers, the ones who pushed for UTC in the first place, they don't use it anymore. Too inaccurate, they say. What's left? Tradition? Oh no, the sun peaked in the sky 37 seconds later than I expected. Think of the children. And for what cost? Earlier this year, 4 major internet sites crashed as they rolled into July. Amazon, Netflix, Twitter, ring a bell? The New York Stock Exchange shut down for an hour. I guess that's wise of them, given that no NTP, or Network Time Protocol, server in the last decade has broadcast leap seconds correctly. I've been an observer at the ITU for the last 5 years. Worked as an engineer for 20 years before that. Not once in my career have I heard a convincing argument for leap seconds. My colleagues, we have the power to fix things now. 1 vote and they're gone. It's not like the world will end if we drop them, right?
God, that last line too. Oh, I like it. Oh, there's so much good about this article. I'm going to gush at you for like an hour now.
Oh, no.
All right. I got to start the question and answer segment with like these incidents. So do you mind talking about what you do professionally, like telling people what you do? Because you're not specifically a professional writer.
Yeah.
Why did you write this article? Why did you write this, Lambda?
Yeah. So I'm a software developer by trade, so I have to work with this kind of code all day. And like one of the things that I'm keenly aware of that other people might not be is that it's just how political technology can get. Like, I find it kind of funny that people idolize folks like Steve Jobs or what's that SpaceX guy?
Elon Musk, right?
Yes, Elon Musk. That's right. People like them who project this idea of like this crystal palace, this technological perfection, and but who don't show you the messy backroom deals or the mountains of technical debt that are hiding under those things. Yeah, and I think I wanted to show people the side of technology in this SCP.
Say the first thing I can say about this article right off the bat, this is one of those like beautiful situations for the writing phrase "write what you know."
Yeah.
The intricate details that you went into here in these incident logs that I myself never would have thought of, but are so obvious once you say them. Things like, oh yeah, we got to do this to, all right, yes, overarching, we're doing this to save the world. But in doing so, we have to politically get all of these different militaries and governments on board with this idea. Okay, we did that. We're the Foundation. We snuck in the back door. Oh, wait, the corporations are not finding it financially viable, or as they're not making every single dollar, and so they're going to go around us now. When Amazon's like, they're doing around 10% of what we asked. Son of a... And then they stop doing it completely when they go to China. It's like, dang it, real world problems.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because one of the things that I've heard people complain about is how the Foundation has gotten more and more powerful as the series have progressed. And I guess one of the things I wanted to do is, well, show the Foundation as not that powerful at all. Like they have to resort to diplomacy and maybe bribing people to get what they want.
And just like when you're playing a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, the saying is that failure is often more interesting than success, and that you'll find more interesting stories that way. Having a Foundation be challenged is one of my favorite things in the site. Seeing people seeing them have to work their way out of trouble, seeing this and that. Like the end of the story here, they won the vote by 3 votes. This guy almost convinced them to drop it, and it's just like, oh, next time you're not going to be able to save it, guys. What are you going to do this time? And like it struck me, I was just like, oh, I want to hear the next story of like how they saved it. I didn't realize reading it the first time. I was just reading the incidents that this is like over 50 years. There have been at least 101 incidents of them having to deal with 4882. And yeah, that's rough, and it's going to get rougher.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. That was really good. Thank you. I am a very attention deficit person. I talk fast. I get distracted very easily. Most of what I read on the wiki are shorter stories, but I was reading this one for the show tonight, and I was like, oh, and I tore through it, and I was super excited the whole time, and I was just very excited, and then I got to the end, and I upvoted it immediately, because I was just like, dang. Tufto says in your discussion section, this is a very underrated SCP, and it is a very underrated SCP, because the story is riveting. There's so much, like, success and failure, and success from the jaws of failure, and it leaves on a cliffhanger. And the detail work, because of your time as an engineer, is incredible. Like, you really see all the little intricate details people wouldn't normally pay attention to. You can't see this from the chat unless you're reading the article on the wiki, but multiple times in this story, Lambda has linked news articles into the wiki
Mm.
about the things he's talking about because he's adapted things from real life that actually
Mm.
happened. Where did you get that from? How did you phase those in during your writing process?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like I was thinking like, oh, the reason why I got into this leap second concept in the first place was because I was fooling around on Wikipedia and I stumbled upon the Wikipedia page about leap seconds. And I read through the history of like the whole concept, and I was just thinking, this is so messed up. It's basically anomalous already. So I decided that for the rest of this article, I was going to I was going to really lean into this idea of it fitting into the real world and start weaving real world stuff into it. Oh, and another funny thing is, for my first draft, the article was only about half as long as it is now. Like it didn't have any of the incident logs in it. And it wasn't until I put it up for critique and I got Pedantic. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but it wasn't until I got them to look at it. Well, they said that the concept was good, but it was lacking tension. It was lacking that sort of conflict. Like the Foundation was winning too early. So that was what drove me to add in all of those incident logs and to portray the Foundation as failing in their task. Yeah.
Fantastic critique, Pedantique, because that hit it on the button. I'm just like, again, I was riveted the entire time. A lot of articles, like, I will enjoy them. They will be a fun read. This is one of the few that, like, got me. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to read this entire thing now. I had, like, adrenaline spikes then, and I'm feeling them again. I didn't even have coffee today, guys. This is all story fun.
Wow.
All right, so it was half the size when Pedantic got to it, and we added in all of this real world stuff, all of this cat and mouse with the Foundation. How many news articles are there? It looks like there's like 4 or 5.
I think so. Like it's like press releases and slideshows and that sort of thing.
As a fan of mixed media, the Foundation website, all these like format screws, people, if you can tie the real world and these news articles into your story and weaving them in this way, I think this is a whole, like, I don't think I've seen this kind of detail work used on the wiki before. There might be articles that like present something real, like one real thing, and then like make up an anomaly behind it. But using multiple news sources to bump up your article showing that, oh, this is what's happening in the real world, but this is multiple things happening behind it. I feel like I feel like either I haven't seen it before at all and I'm just missing the articles that do it. But if I'm right, then you have stumbled into something I think people should use more often. Because like I was looking at the links and I'm like, where does this go? Oh my God, that's a news site. Oh my God, I had never seen that before. A million claps. I'm just freaking impressed.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how long did you said you mentioned before we started up that you had lurked on the wiki. So how'd you find the wiki? How long did you lurk before deciding to write your first article?
So I joined the site in 2014. I actually don't remember how I found it. It was a long time ago. I was still a kid in high school. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. But yeah, I think the first SCP I ever wrote, it never got published. Like I posted it in the draft forums and then it crashed and burned. And yeah, I'd rather not think about that. Then I got distracted by real life stuff and went away for a few years. And I don't know what led me back. I guess
We all kind of
I came back
we
and
all kind
saw
of
it was
find the
really
site
good.
by accident, and it's kind of like we've all
Yeah,
been amnesticized to our time before we were here.
maybe.
All right, so we did our lurking. You said you wrote another article recently. So you're up to 2 now?
Oh, yes, I am. So I participated in the SCP-5000 contest. Um, my entry is called Irrational Exuberance, and it's about the dot-com bubble.
Oh my.
Uh,
That immediately makes me excited to think it's more like this one, and I'm very excited to
yeah.
go look at that now. Go because Lambda's here hyping this article. Also, go check out his 5K entry because that sounds dope.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So you found this on Wikipedia. You were gonna make something about leap seconds because it was crazy an idea in the first place. Uh,
Yeah.
you mentioned that there was the change, kind of taking it from easy success to the failure success tension. Were there any other
Yeah.
big like changes in story before that?
Uh, let me think. Yeah. I don't think so. And I think one of the reasons why it didn't change so much in terms of vision is because I spent a very long time thinking about this before I put words to paper. I think from like initial conception to posting it to the wiki was around half a year. So there was a lot of like rolling around and like thinking about what I want to say with this, and because of that, and when I did get around to writing it, it didn't need that much rework.
You
Yeah,
put in the work on the back end. Exactly.
yeah.
Excellent. Um, how was the a lot of people come to the wiki from different backgrounds and
Mm,
they have their idea, they have their story, maybe they even have the right like skeleton. How was
yeah,
it from your background getting into the clinical tone aspect of the framing device?
right. Yeah. So the funny thing is, like, outside of the wiki, um, I already do a little bit of technical writing for work and that sort of thing. So it wasn't as hard as it should have been, adapting to the kind of clinical tone that the wiki expects. Um,
I had
I
imagined that
think,
maybe a software
yeah,
engineer would have a little bit of an easier time than most coming into technical writing of that kind of nature.
yeah. Well, you would be surprised because, like, there is that whole meme with, um, knowing how to write code but not English. So
Completely forgot that
and
that part of the language existed for a little bit.
maybe, yeah. So I would say that like technical writing, like writing something that people want to read, it's definitely something that you need to practice. Yeah.
I remember my first article. I come from a theater performance background, so I barely write
Mm,
anything.
mm,
I've written a couple like cheap theater scripts in my day, but that's about it. But
mm,
coming at the I had definitely went over a couple drafts of just like I had my story written, I had every detail that I wanted in the story, and then I had
mm,
to look at it like 5 more times and just like, okay, that's clinical. That's clinical. Look at the wiki. Read what they would say in
yeah.
this sense. And I kind of had to like program that voice into my head because it was more foreign when I started. Damn
Mm,
liberal arts.
yeah. Yeah, I can totally see where you're coming from there. It's a particular style. Um,
All right, well, this is my standard final question as we're starting to wrap up. Uh, if you were to have a favorite article or tale on the wiki that was not one of yours, what would it
mm.
be?
Well, I do have a couple. Um, So the first one I like is SCP-4470, titled Endure, by Pedantic. I'll put it in the chat.
Yep, I was just looking up myself. SCP-4470.
Yeah, and the thing I like about that is it's got this really nice feeling of like understated horror. I think one of Pedantic's strengths is that they're really good at that show, don't tell. Like all throughout this article, they never state outright that this is creepy 1984 level shit. But it's implied through all of the things that happen to the character. I find that fascinating. It's really nice.
Fantastic. You said there were multiple?
Oh yes. And the other one I really like is Are We Gentrified Yet by Nico and Uranium Empire. Oh, I can tell by the reaction that you may have read it. Is that correct?
I'm a little familiar with that one. Actually, I just had Uranium Empire on last week.
Wow, that's
and
wonderful.
that was for Ambrose Backdoor Soho, which is the one she wrote where we get up with misgentrification. It's another gentrification and artist themed. I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Oh, wait. I think, did we? Yes. We did this one during the Site-42 24-hour charity live stream on Halloween.
Oh, wow.
We did because Halloween seemed like the right time to do a thing, I took the day off work and we did like a 24-hour marathon of SCP readings. And like authors and staff all came on the site and we donated to the San Francisco LGBT Center. But
oh, yes, I remember this. Yeah.
This was one of the most fun readings from that, just trading back and forth with different people. Everyone having to be like, subject, Boomaro cock. Subject, regarding Boomaro cock. And there goes the YouTube monetization, but you know what? It's for the art.
Yeah.
Yes, that is Are We Gentrified Yet is a fantastic tale. And in the same vein, Ambrose Backdoor Soho is a GOI format that you got to check out if you like Gentrified Yet, because it's in the same flavor.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, that's some good stuff. Well, Lambda, do you have any final words for the audience tonight?
Oh, I just want to say, well, thanks for checking in, and thanks for inviting me, Sherm.
Thank you for volunteering to get some. I hope you had fun on the show.
Yes.
And thank all of you guys on Site-42 YouTube for tuning in. Let me, you can jump off the camera, but I'll meet you in the back door for the last 5 minutes after I sign off the show. Thank you, Lambda, for joining us tonight.
Goodbye,
and as for the Site-42 viewers, that is the end of our show for the evening. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank Lambda for joining us as our guest. Thank everybody, Floppy, in the Get Vocal chat. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and become a patron if you want to support the show. And we will see you guys at our next Anomalous Broadcast from Site-42. This is Sherm signing off. Stop broadcast. Turn it down.